A high-stake call is underway between President Joe Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin. It's their second direct call this month. It comes as tensions escalate between the U.S. and Russia over Ukraine. The White House says today's call was requested by the Kremlin. The pair are expected to discuss the ongoing tensions with Ukraine ahead of next month's security talks in Geneva. That meeting stems from growing fears of a Russian invasion into Ukraine. Moscow staged an estimated 100,000 troops along Ukraine's border, but denies an imminent invasion. Earlier this month, Russia announced it removed about 10,000 troops from their Ukrainian border. So for more on this, I'd like to bring on senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe. He's in Wilmington, Delaware for us. Ed, thanks so much for taking the time. As we mentioned, this call comes ahead of that January 10th security talk between Russia and the U.S. in Geneva. So what are both sides hoping to accomplish and take away from today's conversation?
Well, it's a good question, Skyler. The call began about 25 minutes ago, according to the White House, and it's unclear exactly how long it could go. But the idea here is to keep the two world leaders talking to each other and then allow their underlings to sort out the details of the meeting on January 10th in Geneva, the same city where they met over the summer to revive U.S.-Russia relations, at least in the mold of Joe Biden. The president here at his home in Delaware holding this telephone call alongside advisors. The Russian president, as you said, is the one that requested this, and U.S. officials admit they don't know why exactly he wanted to talk, but they're happy to have the conversation because previous conversations this year were initiated by the American side. They say they're reciprocating the Russian request for the conversation. And again, ultimately what they're looking for is to keep talking. At least that's what the Americans want. The Russians have made clear they have two very specific concerns. A new legally binding security agreement with the United States and assurances from NATO that it won't expand to its east, right up to the Russian border, Russian western border with Ukraine. Remember, Ukraine has been pushing to join the military alliance. It has not done so yet. It has not been granted even sort of probationary membership, but it is something that is often discussed in Europe and at NATO meetings, and something that Russian President Putin is saying would be a direct threat to Russian security and something that might prompt him to take action with those hundreds of thousands of troops that are along the Russia-Ukraine border. So ultimately for the United States, they want to keep the conversation going until the 10th and then allow State Department, Defense Department officials to sort out the details along with their Russian counterparts.
And so are both sides sort of checking off a to-do list box here in terms of these conversations? I mean, how influential do you think this will be in terms of next month's meeting?
Well, ultimately, these are the meetings that set the meetings, if you will. You know, these two leaders agree, look, we want to tick through X, Y, and Z. We'll leave it to the others to sort out the details. That gives them a roadmap, and then they sort it out. And with about, 11 days or so until those meetings, the to-do list could change, depending on what goes on. But ultimately, the hope here is that they can sort out today what needs to be sorted out there in person, face-to-face, and then bring it back to the two sides and sort out some bigger agreement. But on one big point, and this is important, while Russia may be pushing the United States to ensure that Ukraine never joins NATO, the White House position is that nothing regarding Ukraine happens without talking to Ukraine and involving them in the conversation. In essence, it wouldn't just be a two-way conversation anymore. It would have to be a three-way conversation. And that isn't necessarily something Putin is looking for. He'd rather just be engaging with the American president, very similar to how the Soviet Union used to deal with the United States on issues regarding the world in general. The two superpowers would sort it out and the rest of the world would follow suit. In this case, the Biden administration is saying no. If it's a conversation about Europe's security or Ukraine, they will be involved in the conversations as well.
That's actually a fantastic point. And so let's just talk tone here. I mean, how has President Biden engaged with Russia up until this point, and how does the White House plan to navigate diplomacy with that country moving forward?
Well, the fact that they're having these conversations at all is a signal of how they plan to do it. That the two leaders are willing to talk, and in this case, at least the third time this year, or third or fourth time this year, on the phone and then that one time in person. And that is, you know, consistent with how the Trump administration would have handled things, but the Biden administration would say it's being a little tougher, at least publicly and behind the scenes, with Russians, trying to tell them that, you know, you cannot take these steps to put hundreds of thousands of troops on your border and expect that the United States and NATO and European countries won't respond. So the threat of economic sanctions that the White House hasn't ruled out might include direct sanctions on President Putin, other security steps that could be taken, even mentioning the idea that, yeah, if NATO gets involved, the U.S. is going to have to send troops into that region. All of that designed to remind Russia how seriously the Americans are taking this and how closely it's being monitored. I will say, next to the pandemic, the one thing you've heard the most from the Biden administration about since the holidays really began last week is their concerns with what would Putin decide to do about his forces there on the border with Ukraine. It is something they've been monitoring very closely, and in many cases likely up into the holidays, holiday arrangements of a lot of administration officials who've had to keep close watch.
All right, Ed O'Keefe live for us in Wilmington, Delaware for us. Thank you, Ed. We appreciate it.
Take care.